This tutorial will demonstrate the polar array process. You should have already seen the tutorial on rectangular array. It's kind of sort of similar. The polar array icon is on the same icon flyout toolbar as the rectangular array I demonstrated earlier. Click on the polar array icon to invoke the array polar command. First, select the objects you want to replicate. Hit enter when you're finished selecting the objects. Next, it's prompting you to say where the center point of the array should be. I suggest have your running object snaps on, including center, so you can O-snap at the center of an existing circle to specify the center of the ceiling fan or for the center point of the array. By default, it assumes you want 6 items about a 360-degree arc or a full circle. I can hit the downward arrow and change the number of items, say to 4, and hit enter. Or downward arrow again, select items option and change it, say, to 5 and hit enter. When it's the way I want it to be, I'll hit enter again and I'm back to the type of command prompt in the command area. Now, like the polar array process demonstrated earlier, this array is a single object. If you want to delete pieces, or like delete one wing, one blade of this 6-blade ceiling fan for whatever reason, you can explode it and it'll blast this array back down to the simple arcs and lines again. Most likely you want to leave the polar array intact. And that's because hours or weeks later you can double click on the polar array and change the items, say, from 5 to, say, 6 and hit enter. Close the quick properties dialog box and hit escape to deselect the polar array, and now you've updated to the client's latest wish. Another good application of the polar array command or process is to replicate circles or squares or whatever into an arc. In this case, I want to replicate this into a number of items in a negative 90 degrees. Negative because I'm going clockwise. Launch the polar array icon again. Select what I want to replicate again. Hit enter. Specify the center point of the array. As before, I'll take advantage of the center running object snap to snap to the center where I want the arc center to be. As before, I get a full 360-degree arc or a full circle in 6 objects. I'll hit the downward arrow and change the fill angle to negative 90 to go clockwise 90 degrees. Well, 6 is a little bit too much machining for the budget I got. I'll hit the downward key on the keyboard again and change the number of objects, say, to 5 and hit enter. Well, for whatever reason, this bottom one's not usable, so I'll hit the downward arrow and change the fill angle, say, to negative 80 degrees. When I'm finished, I'll hit escape to return to the type of command prompt. There's also an option to rotate or not rotate objects. I'd leave it in the default. The only time you want to not rotate objects that I can think of is the seats on a Ferris wheel. You want them all to be hanging on the circle and hang straight down. So I'll leave that to yourself to learn that rotate option of the polar array command. That's about it.